Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. A very warm welcome to everyone for this weekend's Weekend with Wisdom. Today we have a very special guest with us, Sri Shatavadhani Dr. R. Ganesh, who is going to speak on a very interesting topic on marriage or vivaha in Sanatana Dharma. He will be giving a brief introduction, a reflective introduction to Sanatana Dharma's perspective on the sacred samskaara of vivaha. And this particular session was we were given requested by Dr. Professor Devendraji in the context of his upcoming marriage of his son. And we thought it would be wonderful to have a talk like this to sensitize our youngsters about the Hindu notion of marriage. Just a brief introduction. Shatavadhani Ganesh does not need any introduction. He is very well known. Nevertheless, for the benefit of some of the audience who will be joining us from outside of Karnataka, Dr. Ganesh is a practitioner of the art of Avadhana, a polyglot, an author in Sanskrit and Kannada, and an extempore poet in multiple languages. He has performed more than 1,300 Avadhanas in Kannada, Samskrita, Telugu, and Prakrit. He is known for extempore compositions of poetry, that is Ashu Kavita, during his performances, and as well as Chitrakavya. He once set a record by composing poetry for 24 hours continuously. He has, in 2012, he performed the first ever Shatavadhana entirely in Kannada language. In 2014, in Bangalore, he performed his 1,000th Avadhanam. Dr. Ganesh he has a B degree in mechanical engineering and an MSc in engineering in metallurgy from IIC. And he had in the past pursued research in material science and metallurgy. He also has an MA in Samskrita and D.Litt in Kannada, which was awarded by the Hampi University for his thesis on the art of Avadhana in Kannada. We are very fortunate to have you, Ganesh, among us, and we look forward to hearing this talk on a very important topic. Please go ahead and start the session. Viewers, if you have any questions, please put them in the box, and towards the end of the session, please put the questions Dr. Ganesh will take up. Go ahead, sir.
Om Tat Sat Paraspara Tapassampat Phalayita Parasparo Paraspara Tapassampat Phalayita Parasparo Prapancha Mata Pitaro Prancho Jayapati Stumaha. I salutate the eternal couple who are the products of their own penances, that is Shiva and Parvati. Shiva underwent penance for Parvati, and Parvati did the same. And that is the greatness of this eternal couple, Sanatana Dhampati, where tapas becomes the pivotal point of their marriage and love. And I'm happy and I'm most beholden to Indica Academy for providing this opportunity to share the beautiful aspects of Vivaha in our tradition. It's a very big thing. It's a very, very voluminous chapter as well. And I can't do any justice in a span of 60 minutes or so. But Alparambha Kshemakaraha, as it is said, I'm going to ponder over some of the main features. In Sanatana Dharma, the Grahi Sutras, these are one among the 4 aspects of Kalpa Sutras. Grahi Sutras deal with the family rituals, and every Grahi Sutra starts with the ceremony of marriage, with the Vivaha Samskara, among the 16 Samskaras as told by many of the Dharmashastrakaras, and Gautama Dharma Sutra mentions 41 including all the Sapta Paka Yajna, Sapta Havir Yajna, and Sapta Soma Yajna, like that. So, barring that, we have 16 samskaras, which are too well known. Among them, Vivaha is the greatest, is the most important, because family starts with marriage, Graha starts with Vivaha, and any ritual of Graha, that is Griya Karma, becomes relevant only with the marriage. Like that, we have in our tradition, marriage being given a great significance. Among our deities also, almost all major deities are family holders. They're all married couple, whether it is Lakshmi Narayana or Shiva Parvati or Saraswati Prajapati or Shachi Indra or Swaha, Swadha and Agni. Like that, in every deity, we do see the same feature. Why? Even in the philosophical terms, Maya, that is the consort of Brahma, like that, we have the system of marriage. And that's why, when compared with the other systems of faith, particularly the religions, their marriage has no great bearing. In Sanatana Dharma, we have such a great system being very well understood and carried on. The term marriage is seen in Sanatana Dharma in very many ways. Vivaha, Avaha, Panigrahana, Kanyadana, Upayama, Panipidana. Like that, there are so many terms in Sanskrit. Vivaha is taking the burden together and moving on. And Avaha, inviting the bride to the place of bridegroom, and then having the institution of marriage. Panigrahana, shaking hands, joining hands. And Kanyadana, that is a recent term when compared to the other three, which is quite old when compared to the other three like Vivaha, Avaha, Panigrahana. It's quite recent, because in all our Dharma Sutras, we have the term Vivaha itself, or in Panigrahana. In Kanya Dana, Kanya is given, not Dana should not be taken in a denigratory sense. Unfortunately, the modern perversions are myriad, and one among them is demeaning Dana. Dana is a very noble gift that is being offered to a very worthy person. In that case, dana is the most cherished thing, not just thing. It may be a thought, it may be a system of knowledge, it may be a thing, it may be property, it may be our effort. Anything can become an object of dana, object of reverential, sacred, affectionate offering. And so Kanyadana should not be misunderstood that the bride is being given as a dana, like Godana or Vastradana, something like that. We have Vidyadana, we have Netradana, we have Raktadana, and so many danas, Angadana, all these things which are in modern parlance. Do we in them? Do we deem in them? Never. That's why we should not misunderstand Kanyadana also. But these are the older terms, Vivaha, Avaha, Panigrahana, and Upayama, that is again going together and well fastened. With that, we have many great meaningful terms associated with marriage. And since time immemorial, we have many systems of marriage, because Sanatana Dharma is never a monoculture. Though it is monolithic in its spirit, it's not a monoculture system. And that's why it is always inclusive. If at all there is anything inclusive in the real sense in the whole world, it is Sanatana Dharma and Sanatana Dharma alone. And Ashtavida Vivaha, eight forms of marriage which are very popular and too well known. Many people know them: Brahma, Harsha, Daiva, and Prajapatya before in the first set, and then Gandharva, Asura, Rakshasa, and Paishacha, the other four set. All are sacred, all have the respect and agreement with the society. Society solemnizes everything. Even then, these first four are more sacred and more responsible. In Brahma, bride, bridegroom, and both the parties belonging to the brides and bridegroom side all agree together and they happily arrange the marriage. And in the 100% sense, it is an arranged marriage in all its good sense. That is Brahma. Brahma means the greatest, the biggest, the noblest, Brihvruddho. And Arsha. Arsha is that practice which is found even among the seers. Rishinam idam arsham. And there we come to know that in ancient societies, uh, we used to have something like a barter exchange. If a girl is given to some other family, an earning member, a working member, a potential candidate for working and pursuing so many things will be lost for that family. And that's why to compensate that, cows have to be given. We know that brides cannot be evaluated in terms of money, things, in terms of things, kind, cash, or any such thing. It's only immeasurable value that a cow has can be equated. And that's why giving Go Mithuna, giving a pair of cows, she will be invited for marriage and she will be given to the bridegroom. Like that, it is Arsha. And then Daiva, the marriage happens as a part of a sacrifice, that is Yajna, a Yajnanga. One among the Ritvik will be invited and he will be married to the bride. And that is Daiva. Daiva means an Yajna, which is meant for the appeasement of the divine forces, supernatural forces, Devatas. In that sense, it is Daiva. And also, it is the play of fate in a positive sense. The fate saw to it that this bride was given to a groom who was a Ritvik, like that. And then Prajapatya. Prajapatya literally means part of an agreement, part of a vrata. We have so many vratas, that is Prajapatya vrata or Aindragneya vrata or Ashvina vrata, like that. We have so many vratas. This is Prajapatya vrata. Prajapatehe idam vratam Prajapatyam vratam. Means it is meant for uh, propitiating the great divinity Chaturmukha Brahma or the creator. And of course, marriage is the institution for procreation, and that's where it's Prajapatya, where the father of the bride will be inviting the bridegroom and he will be blessing the couple, and with good and kind words, they'll be sending for their future life. No karma kanda, it's all very minimum. And this unique Prajapatya marriage system gives no way, no room to sannyasa. In that sense, without sannyasa, the couple has to remain. In our tradition, both husband and women were entitled to sannyasa, take up sannyasa. In the great work of Swami Vidyaranya, that is Jivan Mukti Viveka, the great master of so many shastras and a visionary, a luminary in the annals of Indian history also, Vidyaranya Swami clearly says even women are uh, entitled for sannyasa. So they cannot adopt sannyasa because it is a pact that has been made for the end of their life. Up to their end of the life, they have to go with it. And so this is such a great bond. These are the four important marriage systems where the whole society will come to their support and even the tradition will have great bearing on them. While the other four, the society do has a role to play, and the tradition has solemnized them. In spite of that, they are not that recommendable. One is Gandharva, where it goes with the mutual agreement of the bride and bridegroom. The couple, with mutual agreement, they start their life, married life. No other person will be involved. And then Asura is Kanya Shulka, that is the dowry given to the bride's father, demanding a big money dowry. That happened in the case of Gandhari, in the case of Madri, also in the Mahabharata. That is Asura. And then this Asura marriage, where Kanya Shulka later became Varashulka, that is dowry, in the recent past, very recent past. Earlier, we had no such thing, no such practice, because Kanya always used to be a, a greater wealth than Varasha. And then we have Rakshasa. In Rakshasa, it is kidnapping or elopement of the bride. And in Paishacha, he'll be intoxicating the girl, and he'll be having an affair or he will be raping. In spite of that, the society will come to the help of the girl and see to it and sees to it that this couple will be married and some justice will be done to her life and her future. And in that sense, Paishacha, though not a recommendable one, it is the last resort. For that also, our Sanatana Dharma has given accommodation for the sole reason no girl should be penalized. No woman should be left for herself. No boy, having committed that hooliganism, should not go aloof. He should be bound to the system of marriage. Likewise, even the variations in the society, even the deviations in the society has to be brought again and they should be brought back to the rails. This is the idea behind such marriages. Now also we have Brahma, Gandharva. These two types of marriages are well prevalent. And sometimes when money matters are dictating, then it may be Asura also. And rarely we have kidnapping, Rakshasa Vivaha, and not to speak of Paishacha. So in one or the other form, we do find Ashtavida Vivahas, but Sanatana Dharma always prefers the best. But it will not ignore other things, for it is the most realistic system of life. No other system of life is so realistic and yet rooted in idealism. It is Sanatana Dharma. Just you see, in Natya Shastra also, we have so many systems of Natyas. It is the perfect play, Nataka, and then perfect social play is Prakarana, and then we have many other where we have the cases like Bhana, Prahasana, Dima, Iham, Murga, and many more. Every system of Chakshushayaga, as we call in Natya Shastra, it is meant for the enjoyment of the commoners, enjoyment of the public. The best people of taste will be choosing the best one, but at the same time, they will not be ridiculing the rest of the things. In that sense, we have the best for people of choice and people of taste. At the same time, ordinary things will also be there for the masses. The realistic dimension of society in a variegated manner is never ignored, and every aspect of such variety is taken into account. And this we see in food habits, this we see in music, this we see in poetry, and everywhere we see such things. Now, uh, many Shastrakaras, apart from the Sutrakaras like Ashwagandha, Bodhayana, Apastamba, and then Khadira and Drayayana, Gautama, and many such people, both in Dharma Sutras and Griha Sutras, they mention a lot about marriage and the institution of marriage and other things. And later came the Smriti, starting from that of Manu. And then we have Shankha Smriti, Likhita Smriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Parashara, Naradiya Vishnu Smriti, many such Katyayana Smriti. Like that, we have so many Smritis are available. Everywhere we do have the description of institution of marriage. Just to quote some verses from Manu. यदा भार्या च भर्ता च परस्पर वशानुगौ तदा धर्मार्थकामानां त्रयाणामपि संगतम्. When husband and wife, they are in their mutual control. When wife is under the control of husband and husband under the control of wife, then dharma artha kama, the trivarga as we call, and that is called shreyas or abhyudaya. This abhyudaya, dharmartha kama, trivarga, it will go well. And trayanam api sangatam, dharmartha kamanam trayanam api sangatam. These three cardinal values, dharmartha kama, they go well. Moksha is highly individualistic and it is the pursuit of the individual, where husband or wife, nobody will bother about the other. That's why in marriage we have one pledge, dharme cha arthe cha kame cha tvaya nati charitavya yesha. You should not violate this girl in the aspects of dharma, artha, and kama. And he says, Bhadam, dharme cha arthe cha kame cha nati charami. But no mentioning of moksha, because moksha is individualistic and it is innate universal experience. And that's why husband's moksha is meant for him and wife's is for her. And that's why the brother and Upanishad Yajnavalkya clearly says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. And then the other verse from Manu, Tatha nityam yate yatam, stri pumsau tu kritakriyo, yatha nabhicharetan tau viktau yitareteram. And that's why none should lose faith or trust in the other. None should violate the thoughts, the interests of the other. In that way, they should protect mutually. And it is also said, Santushto bharyaya bharata, bhartra bharyat tarivacha, yasminneva kule nityam kalyanam tatra vedruvam. Where husband is content with his wife and vice versa, there in that family, kula is essentially family. It is no way connected with so-called caste. Kalyanam ve tatra dhruvam. And we are sure to see happiness and long-standing enjoyment and greater dimensions of social relevance, cultural relevance, ending in the pursuit of highest value. Now, it is also said in various agamas like Lakshmi Tantra and other works also, marriage being eulogized, Mahanirvana Tantra, like that. But even many later Smritis and Nibandhas, they do mention about the significance of marriage. And Kalidasa clearly says marriage is the threshold of a greater life, it's a more responsible life. And Grihastha is best among the ashramas. Even Manu speaks so. Kalidasa says Sarvashrama Rakshana Kshama Ashram. It can protect the rest of the ashramas, brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Like that, this is the board on which, this is the canvas on which the painting of the rest of the society is being done. And Manu even goes to the extent and says that how the ocean is protecting all the water bodies, whether they are rivers or ponds or lakes or pools or wells or even the rains, everything is taken care of by the waters in the ocean. Like this, Grihastha will be taking care of the rest of the society, and he will be the eternal trustee for the well-being of the society. And now, what is the right time for marriage? Age. We have lot of discussions regarding that. I'm not going to it in detail, but this much I can say. As far as the age is concerned, in the Vedic marriage, even in the Sutra period and all, it used to be after puberty of a girl. Perhaps by 14 or 15, the girl used to get married, and even beyond that, and boy by 16 to 20 or so. Because by 8th year, you'll be initiated to Upanayana. And for 12 years minimum, he has to study. So it will become 20 years. By 20, 22 years, he will be eligible batch. He will be an eligible bachelor. And then girl, not less than 4, 5 years or even 8, 9 years. She will be younger like that. But we do have certain cases where girls may also be older than boys. Such rare cases are also there. But this much is true. Child marriage was not an order in ancient times. Only in the medieval time we come across child marriage. And the works of Charaka, Sushruta, and Vagbhata, such Ayurvedic masters, they prescribe certain healthy age. Though it is comparatively younger to the present day standards, but by the by the background of medicine and other things, we get to know that that age is also recommendable from the perspective of Ayurveda. Kautilya also in his Arthashastra says a lot thing, says very many things about marriage, and even Vatsyayana, like that, Dharmashastra, Arthashastra, Kamashastra, and Ayurveda Shastra. All these Shastras have their say on marriage, and they correspond with each other, and they agree to so many decisive terms. Like that, it has been well researched, thoroughly analyzed, and the product of long-standing experimentation, analysis, observation, all these things has gone into it. And that's so the institution of marriage has stood the test of time in our Sanatana Dharmic perspective. And then we have so many marriages based on Varnantara Vivaha. Marriages belonging to the same Varna, the bride and bridegroom, is also present, while of the different Varnas are also being seen. And that's why we have so many Pratiloma, Anuloma Varnas and Pratiloma, Anuloma Santana, like that. If you go and open any Smriti like Manu or Yajnavalkya, there we do find that Pratiloma and Anuloma Vivahas. pratiloma, anuloma, santana, and they ending up in various occupations, various vocations, and such things. And so, marriage among the different communities was also prevalent. But for the obvious reasons, it is better to marry within the community. Why? Because the traits will be useful for the other. It will be easier for the family to go with an established tradition, because in those days we didn't had MNC occupation or college teaching or even government employment where anybody and anyone can go there and get employed for the basic qualification. But with vocations and such occupations, they do need special training starting from their birth, because a potter, if he marries a cobbler, or if she marries a cobbler, the marriage will not be successful because their future as partners or cobblers will not be flourishing well. That is the same case with all professions. Only in the rare cases where the rulers and all people who are very affluent, where they will not entirely depend upon such vocations, they will be on trade, they will be on business and such things. There, such varnantara vivahas may have certain value, but not to all. But that doesn't mean they have to marry within the same varna. Even a conservative smriti like Manu says that Sri Ratnam Dushkuladapi, even from a bad family, even from a bad community, you can take a girl, because Sri Ratnam, that girl should be good, that girl should be worthy. And then Kautilya also mentions a lot about Savarniya, Varniya, Vivaha, and other things. And how about health? How about genetic disorders which may prevail if marriage happens within the community when the community is very small? Such problem will always be there. And for that, we have clearly mentioned about the Gotra and Pravara and even Sapinda. Sagotra Vivaha, Sapravara Vivaha, and Sapinda Vivaha, these are all prohibited. I don't want to ponder over this more and more, but this is very clear. Sagotra means they belong to the same lineage. Earlier, Gotra used to come by the Gotra of the master, Gotra of the teacher, Gotra of the Purohita, and later the Gotra father became the rule. And that's why it became blood relationship, it became a genealogy. And Pravara deals with the significant persons who belong to that genealogy. And then South India means for the immediate cousins who come into that picture. South India is the most dangerous thing. But in South India, South India Vivaha is accepted. Apastambas and Bodhayanas, they do accept Sapindi Vivaha, unlike Ashwalayanas. It is Deshachara like that. So our Sanatana Dharma has given lot of room and lot of liberty and freedom to Deshachara and Kalachara as well. Kale Kale Navacharaha Navavani Mukhe Mukhe like that. And then we do know that Praudha Vivaha, only after puberty marriage used to happen. That's why we have the first night that used to occur on the fourth night after marriage, that is Chaturthi Karma. That can only happen when the girl has attained the age of puberty. Unlike the child marriage, which cannot happen only after a few years, it will happen. The marriage will get consummated only by that. Here it is not so. And then we had Vidhava Vivaha, we had Punar Vivaha, remarriage, and widow marriage. We had even divorce. Kautilya speaks about divorce, and even Parashara speaks about divorce. Interestingly, the term used to represent divorce is moksha. Kautilya clearly uses moksha. And in a lighter vein, I should say, after a very struggling marriage, if a husband or wife come out of that irreparable marriage, then they do feel that as though they have realized moksha, their life will be cheerful, the future life will be happier. And then Amar Kosha clearly says, Vidishu, Didishu, Punarphu, these are the terms which are used for uh, the widow who has married, or even the divorcee she has married. And such a person who has married a vidhava, married a widow, is called Didishuhu. And in many cases, if the husband dies, his next younger brother, if he is not married and eligible bachelor, he will marry his sister-in-law, and that's why he is called Devara. In Sanskrit, husband's brother is called, younger brother is called Devara. And even in Hindi, even today, they have the term Devar. Dvitiyo Varaha Devaraha. That is the etymology. Means he will be the second option. He'll be the immediate option if her husband dies. In that way, Sanatana Dharma is quite realistic and pragmatic, and it has taken care of so many difficulties which may arise after marriage. Now, coming to the cases of divorce, in Parashara Smriti, it is clearly said in the fourth chapter, Kalau Parashara Smritaha. In the age of Kali, it is Parashara Smriti that has the supreme say. Nashte Mrite Pravrajite Klipe Cha Patite Pato Panchat Swapatsu Narina Patiranyo Vidhiyate. When he is absconding, when he is no more, when he is not living, when he has gone for sannyasa, when he is an important person or who is suffering from incurable disease, and patita, if he has underwent some bad thing which is not recommended by Sanatana Dharma and which is shunned by Sanatana Dharma, if he is a fallen person from the standards of Sanatana Dharma, such a person is patita, and a devout wife, whoever devoted but chaste and adhering to the tenets of Sanatana Dharma has every right to divorce that patita. The person who has violated the norms of Sanatana Dharma and get divorced and marry some other one. So in this Panchat Swapatsu, in these five cases, Patiranyo Vidhiyate, she can divorce and go for second marriage like that. And women used to be given Stridhana. It is also called as Yautaka and Stridhana. Means from her parents' place, she used to get some money, some property, both movable or immovable, jewelry, money, cash, many such things. And no one could have any control regarding that, whether not even her husband or not even her children. No one had no right on it. No one had any right on it. Only with her consent that money can be used for other purposes, or in genuine cases when the family really is in need of that money, she can part of that like that. Kautilya very clearly given all options, and even in Yajnavalkya Smriti and the Mitakshara, the great commentary on Yajnavalkya written by Vijnaneshwara, we do see such things, and many other smritis and smritikar Vyakyanakaras, for example Nanda Pandita and Naradi Vishnu Smriti, they are discuss these things in great detail. And apart from her parental money, what she gets as Yautaka Sridhara, even the money which is given by her in-laws or even given by her husband, everything will go to her. So women used to have property right in that manner. And even when a woman is not chaste, she had to be taken care of by her children. But when the father is violating the norms of Sanatana Dharma, he need not be taken care of, but not the case with mother. That is what Apastamba speaks. Like that in Sanatana Dharma, we have so much of respect and concern for women. Now coming to the marriage as it is. I already mentioned there are many kinds of marriages. The Ashta Vivaha, I told. Only the details of Brahma Vivaha are enlisted. Because in the other Vivaha Paddhatis, in the other schemes of marriage, we don't have any elaborate ritual. Arsha is by taking Gomithuna, she will be giving her daughter. And in Daiva, it becomes Yajna, the rituals are minimum. And in Prajapatya, just with good words and advice, it will be done. In Gandharva, mutual attraction and mutual agreement, that's all. In Rakshasa, when a person is eloping or is kidnapping the other, who comes for mantracharana and which are the rituals which will be conducted there? And not to speak of Asura, girl becomes a commodity to sell. And Paishacha is utter hooliganism. So in these cases, the rituals have no greater significance. If they need, they can. Then it becomes Brahma. So in that sense, in Sanatana Dharma, the best things will all be explained in greater detail because it is methodical. It is the most valuable and it is the most agreeable and it is most detailed also because the whole society participates. Unlike in Gandharva, Rakshasa, where only the husband and wife or the victim and the person who is going to be an unruly moon who kidnaps or abducts or whatsoever, they, uh, no other third party will be coming into picture. But it is not in the case of Brahma Vivaha. And that's why Brahma Vivaha is being explained in great detail. We shall see. Many steps are involved, but they are simple, they're straightforward. And unfortunately, nowadays, so many aspects of the Brahma Vivaha ritual are to be conducted at some other time. They are all jammed in one day marriage itself. And that's why the marriage ritual has become very lengthy, boring, and even the participants, that is, groom or bride, or even their parents, nobody is bothered about what's happening as a ritual. And even the Purohita who is conducting, many times he may not be knowing even the meanings of the mantras. And even if he's interested to give out the meaning, these parties are not interested at all. They are just exhibiting their beautiful faces or their makeup faces to the camera eye, and that's all. Nobody is interested in anybody. So it has become a very bad fanfare. Only in the videograph you have to see. This is the problem with modern day marriage. And it has become an occasion to show their wealth, pomp, glory, and other things. It's a great occasion to understand things. It's a great occasion to feel the value of tradition. And it's a great occasion to realize the importance of these mantras and also the great seers and the great gods who forged this feature of marriage. Uh, just see, one important feature of Hindu marriage is Sanatana Dharma Brahma Vivaha is most of the mantras used, 90% of the mantras used, the core mantras used here are all realized by one woman. How many people know? Yes, they say Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma means Brahmical, anti-women, and no women is allowed. No women are allowed to recite Veda, that, this, and that. Unfortunately, the narrow-minded so-called Sanatanis, so-called traditionalists, they don't have any respect or realization regarding these things. Further, they conveniently say that it is all divinity, it was of another kalpa, that this and that. Nowhere in the Veda it is said it is belonging to some other kalpa and other things. It is clearly said for all kalpas. Surya Savitri, that is Prajapati's daughter, Savitra's daughter is Surya Devi, and she sung her marriage song. And all the stanzas of her song in the Rigveda's 10th mandala, the 85th Sukta, that is Surya Savitri Vivaha Sukta, which goes up to 45 mantras also, it became the bedrock of Brahma Vivaha. And another set of mantras are used by, which are used in the Hindu marriage, Brahmi Vivaha, are the realization of Atreyi Apala. Atreyi Apala is another Rishika. In our tradition, Rishi in masculine gender, a male who has realized the Veda mantras. Rishika is a female who has realized the Veda mantras. She is a woman. And Prajapati, Parameshti, like that many other rishis to have realized several mantras, they are all being used, but most important are Surya Savitri mantras. And even the Ashirvada mantras, the Sumangalarium, Vadhu, and other things, they are all uh, clearly seen in the 10th mandala of Rigveda as seen by Surya Savitri Devi. For example, an Ashirvada, the blessing which is given to Vadhu, it is said, uh, she says, Dashasyam putranadehi patimekadashankradhi. Having given birth to 10 children, you make your husband the 11th one. That is why it is said, husband himself is born as a child from the womb of his wife. And so, once she becomes a mother, husband should respect her on par with his mother. This is the greatness of motherhood. So enthralling it is. So horripilating is this very idea how these great seers got it. Now coming to the time of marriage, auspicious time. It is generally said Uttarayana, Vasant Ritu, but other periods are also prescribed, except Shishira Ritu and Varsha Ritu. The cold winter and then monsoons, the rainy season, which is very difficult in India. Apastamba says barring Shishira and Varsha, and even the Ashada Masa, which is the pre-monsoon, where it will be highly windy. It will be difficult even to raise the pendal of Vivaha and other things. And then, which are the nakshatras which are good? Apastamba gives a detailed list. Rohini, Mrigashira, Uttara Falguni, Swati, the first best choice. And Punarvasu, Pushya, Hasta, Shravana, Revati. These are all given by Bodhayana. And then Manavagrihi Sutra also adds Uttarashada, Uttarabhadra, Dhanishta, and other nakshatras. And in Vedic marriage, we don't come across horoscopes. In our tradition, this Jatakas, Grahas, and other things, as a student of history, I'm saying they are of later origin. Strong traditionalists who are not aware of history and who have not even studied their subjects respectively in terms of historical development, they may not agree with it. No problem. I have my own evidence to show. In no Vedanga literature, we have the references to horoscopes. If at all they are parishishtas, they are new additions, they are interpolations. It is very clear. They have auspicious stars, but no grahas and horoscope matching, no such thing is being given. Well, nowadays they are following, okay, no problem with it. It is not core essential part of marriage. That's what we can conclude. And then uh, it is clearly said in our tradition, Maghadi Panchaka, Magha, Phalguna, Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jeshta. These 5 months are good for such functions. And in marriage, actual marriage is not too long, I told earlier. Premarital rituals and postmarital rituals are quite a few. Which are the premarital one? The snana, samavartana, and other things that are to be conducted to groom. They become the vivaha purva samskaras. He has to come from the Gurukula, and then he'll be graduated. He'll be trimming his hair, that is Godana, and he'll be having a ceremonial bath, ritualistic bath, and that is Snana. And then he'll become Snataka and Samavartana. He'll be coming back to his place. Samyak avartayate atmanam. It is Samavartanam. These are all the rituals which are involved. And a graduate will have his own dress code. Nowadays, what we have Kashi Yatra, that used to be the dress code. From now onwards, you will be entitled to use fragrance, perfumes, and other such luxuries, fragrant perfumes, and then the golden ornaments, and then footwear, sandals, and fans, all these things, and an umbrella, these things which are somewhat luxurious in nature. Brahmachari should not aspire these things, should not even subscribe to these things, and he should avoid music, dance, and other such entertainment which may distract him from learning. And that's why he has to be adhering to the dharma of brahmachari like that it is being given in the dharma shastras. Once he is a graduate, snataka, he can lead his happy householder life, and for that he is entitled to all these things. And then anything which is given to a snataka will fetch a lot of punya to the donor. And that's why we have uh, uh, snataka is given all these things. Whatever gifts are given in marriage, they used to be given in Samavartana itself for his future life. A fresh graduate will be received by the society with such pomp, luxury, and glory. With the openly thrown out arms, he'll be embraced into the main fold of the society, and his future life will be made safe and secure. After the marriage, the post-marital rituals are Chaturthi Karma, Shesha Homa, and other things. Once the bride goes to her in-laws' place, where she will be performing Sthalipaka Homa and other things, she will be taking charge of the house. Sthalipaka Homa by itself has so much of a beautiful significance. She symbolically she'll be pounding the paddy and getting the rice and cooking it in the fire which is being used for the Vivaha Homa, and that will become Griyagni. And there a thali, a small bowl is used. In that bowl it will be cooked, and that is Thalipaka. And that's Thalipaka, that rice which is being cooked in the fire of marriage, sacred fire of the marriage will be used as an offering to same fire. Very beautiful and very symbolic. Most poetic it is. So the fire of marriage, the fire of love should never put off. It should always be glowing, which should always be beaming radiant light everywhere. That is the intent of that. Now coming to the various steps of Brahma Vivaha. First, Vadhura Guna Pariksha. Vadhu and Vara, the groom and bride, they they will be interviewed by the elders because it is an arranged marriage, whether they go well with other and what are the virtues and what are the strengths and weaknesses, something like a SWOT analysis being made, and boy will be sent to the marriage hall. And then Vagdana, Vagnishchaya, a promise, an official promise is being given by the bride's parents and even by the groom's parents, and Mandapa the marriage hall, that is the pendal, which will be erected, and Nandi Shraddha. It will be a sacred remembrance of our elders, that is Nandi Shraddha, which is performed before a sacred auspicious occasion, that is marriage, and that's why it is called Nandi Shraddha. Nandanti Devataha Asminniti Nandi. And then Shraddha, because Shraddhaya Dadati iti Shraddham, with all reverence, the forefathers will be remembered and Pinda Pradhanam will all be done in Shraddha. But here it will be symbolic. Either Devatas will be propitiated, and then Punyaha Vachana, it is only said by Bodhayana, and Madhuparka, when the bride comes to arrives at the pendal of marriage, then he'll be offered Madhuparka. It's a sacred drink, which is a respectful drink made of corn, honey, milk, and curds. Very symbolic one in different proportions. And there is uh, nothing special as far as the money involved there. It's only a token respect that is being given. And then both bride and bridegroom will be given a sacred bath, a ritualistic bath. Samanjana, Gandhalepana will all be done. They will be anointed with the sandal paste and Pratisara Bandhana, Kankana, and then Vadhu Nishkramana. Vadhuvara, they will be going to the marriage hall and there they'll be seeing each other. That is Paraspara Samikshana, that is called Vikshana. In between them, there will be an Antaspata. Wrongly in Kannada and other regional languages, it is said Antarapata. It is Antarapata, not Antarapata. Antarapata or Antarapata, Antaspata. Uh, a screen will be placed in between them. On the specified sacred moment, they should see each other, and that is called Vikshana. And Vikshana is the Muhurta of Brahmana Varna and Panigrahana for the Kshatriya Varna. And then we have the Saptapadi for the Vaishya and Mangalya Dharana for Shudra, like that. For all the four Varnas, we have different Muhurtas. But everything is sacred, everything is respectable. That is true. This is how some distinctions are being made, not disparate. We should know the difference between distinction and disparity. Even for various gotras or various Vedic followers, different types of tufts are prescribed in the Dharma Shastra, different types of shikhas, and even brahmacharis belonging to various varnas will be given different colors of uttariyas, or different colors of dhotras, or different charmas or ajinas, the hide which will be covered for as an upper garment. Like that, these distinctions are there as a part of variety and not for any disparity or contempt. Then Kanyadana, it's only in Ashvala and Parishishta, Paraskara, Manava, Varaha, like that. The recent sutras and Parishishtas, the appendices of them, they prescribe. And then Agnisthapana and Vivaha Homa, 16 ahutis will be given as per Apastamba. And then we have Panigrahana, joining hands. And then Laja Homa is offering corn ritualistically into the sacred fire, where the bride's brother will be participating. Vivaha should not be abhratrika. It means without any brothers, the bride should be married because whether it is bride or bridegroom, they should not, they should always have some siblings. Without any siblings, they are left for themselves means they may not be having support from their family. And that's why we should have an extended family, a joint family where brothers, sisters, elder, younger, everyone will be there. Then Agni Pranayana, it is circumambulating around the sacred fire. And Ashmarohana, the bride will be standing on a stone, and her husband will take her to the stone and he will be touching her foot. This is a beautiful ritual where the symbol is she should stand on a firm ground. And interestingly, what are the rituals which are prescribed in marriage, especially the acts which are done by the bride, will be the same one which are done by a brahmachari during the time of Upanayana, where Acharya, like a husband, he will be leading. And here, husband, like an Acharya, will be leading. It means to a wife, husband is guru in one sense. Not that she should always listen to him. He should also listen to her. We have many such instances where wife advising the husband and making him realize the self, as it happens in the Shudalopakhana of Yoga Vasishtha. Like that, we have many such instances. Even Sita advised Rama, Snehacha Bahumanacha Smaraye Shikshaye in Ramayana, Aranyakanda. But it is the general thing. An Acharya, uh, like a husband who leads his wife, Acharya will be leading the student. And the beauty is, the student will be giving a vara, will be giving a boon to his acharya, like that I will follow your words. Following your word is the boon which I am giving to you. Varam te dadami guru, like that he says in Upanayana. These things have to be seen in their relevant perspective, then you will be having so much to learn and so much to enjoy and so much to appreciate. Then Saptapadi. Many people wrongly think that circumambulating around the fire, that itself is the Saptapadi. In Saptapadi, wife's foot will be touched by the husband and he will be leading her right foot on 7 times. 7 morsels of uh, rice will be placed, and there she will be walking. She will be treading 7 steps. And the 7 steps are beautifully symbolic. Yasha Ekapada Bhava, Rais Posha, Yadvipada Bhava, Urje Tripada Bhava, Mayo Bhava, Chatushpada Bhava, Rutubhya Panchapada Bhava, Prajaye Sapta Rutubhya Panchapada Bhava, Prajaye Shatpada Rutub Prajaye Panchapada Bhava, Rutubhya Shatpada Bhava, Sakha Saptapada Bhava, like that. They have some additions also, Vishnutva, Yasha Ekapada Bhava, Vishnutva, Manvetu, like that. It is all found in the Prayogas and even in the Brahmana Bhagas. For food, the first step, and for wealth, the second step, and for energy, the third step, and for the children, it is the fourth step. For the understanding, mutual understanding, Mayo Bhava, Chatushpada, the fourth step for mutual understanding, fifth for children, sixth for good times, and seventh for enduring friendship, long friendship, Sakha Saptapada Bhava, Panini Bhagavan Panini. He has made a Vyakarana Sutra itself, Saksham Saptapadinam. Friendship is of 7 steps. That's why Ardhova, Atmanayat Patni. Better half is half of one's life. Patni is that Patyur Yajna, Patyurno Yajna Sanyoga, another sutra of Panini Maharshi. The Patni is called so because he'll be involving in the rituals of Yajna. Yajna Bhagini, she is. Without wife, no one can think of Yajna, no one can think of any good deeds. She has half of control. Unless she agrees to any dana, it will be null and void. And that's why she should come and symbolically endorse that by offering one Uddharana of Tirtha. It is like her signature. That is a very beautiful symbolism. You just think these things with Abrahamic religions, how bad they are. Then the Murdhabhisheka. This is what offering the Kshata on the head of Vadhu and on the head of Vara. Mutually, they'll be offering that. And then Suryo Diksha, they'll be seeing the divine Lord of Light, which is Surya. And then Hridaya Sparsha. Hridaya Sparsha is a very beautiful ritual. In Hridaya Sparsha, it is said, Ideta Hridayam Tava, Tadeta Hridayam Mama, Ideta Hridayam Mama, Tadeta Hridayam Tava. Like that, my heart is yours and your heart is mine. Husband will be touching the heart of wife. And like in Upanayana, where Guru will be touching the heart of Shishya, so that the marriage as an institution should go well with the understanding in a hearty manner. So also the institution of education, Vidya Bhusha, should go well. That is the intent behind this. Then we have the Inva and Yoktra Bandhana. That is all the Apala Atrey's vision. And then we have Prekshakanu Mantrana. They'll be inviting the relatives and everyone who has gathered there to have a look at the Vadhu. Sumangaliriyam Vadhu, that mantra will be sung then. And then Dakshina Dana, everything will be given. Then Graha Pravesha, the bride will be taken to her in-laws place, and Graha Pravesha Homa, Apastamba prescribes that. And Dhruvarandati Darshana, it will be done in night. Unfortunately, what a hilarious thing now, very dubious one to say the least. In the daylight itself, our Purohitas will be showing Dhruva Nakshatra and then Vasishta and then Arundhati. What nonsense it is. According to our Shastras, according to our Shastra, husband and wife should not talk to each other till the rise of moon and rise of the stars. When the stars appear, then the husband should take her to the northern direction, show the pole star, Dhruva Nakshatra, and then come down. And the second one is Vasishta Nakshatra in the Saptarshi Mandala. And then the Arundhati. We all know it is Vimukha Nakshatra, as we know. It means the Arundhati Nakshatra revolves around the Vasishta Nakshatra, and that is the beauty of these two stars. And it is also said the husband will always be looking at the face of the wife, and she too will be gazing at him. And that's why it's a very unique nakshatra pair. And even from the astronomical features, it's a very unique anomaly. And that is what being realized by our rishis long ago. And then it is said, Alkar, the Arundhati Nakshatra in modern parlance, and Mysore, the Vasishta Nakshatra, they being the binary stars, Yudmaka Taraha. And then we have the Agneya Sthalipaka I mentioned earlier, and Triratra Vrata. They will go to the bedroom, sleep together without consuming the marriage. They sleep separately. For 3 nights, they should observe this penance. They should observe this vrata. And in the fourth night, their marriage will get consumed. And that is called Chaturthi Karma. And there we have the Shesha Homa and other things. And in this ritual list of the marriage, now we have the Gauri Puja and other things. Earlier, it used to be Shachi Puja, Shachi, or the Indrani Puja. This is how this marriage goes. And then after the marriage, we have many rituals connected with the Sapta, Havir Yajna, Paka Yajna, and then Soma Yajna, like that. I'm not going to the elaboration of these things. This much is true. In Sanatana Dharma, marriage is a samskaara. It's a refinement. It's not a luxury. It's not an amusement. It's not for lust. Praja Yegra Medhinam, as Kalidasa says, the kings of the solar lineage, they married for developing the future generation, for the upbringing of the future generation they used to. Means they should not be happy without children. What it meant is the next generation should become ready to take the responsibilities and they should shoulder the responsibility of the parents. There's no healthy society will go. If not, what is happening in Europe, what is happening in China, what is happening in Japan, such problems will arise. And so Sanatana Dharma never ignored responsibilities and duties. Our rights and our pleasures, our happiness will become product of our responsibilities and duties. And that's why this institution of marriage was so well maintained and it was perpetuated for eternity. Unfortunately, so many things are coming in the way of this great institution. But anyway, people of awareness, people of concern should see to it that this institution is protected, propagated, and perpetuated forever. Dhanyavad, namaskar.
Thank you very much, Shatavadhani. very, very wonderful, very excellent, very deeply reflective session. And I'm sure all of our audience and I personally learned so many things from it. Thank you very much. We have some questions. I will just read
Please.
some of them. Uh, the first question we had received was, if both men and women are entitled for sannyasa, then why don't we see many rishikas, as many as we see rishis in our texts and our history?
Why don't many Rishikas?
Yes, as many as the rishis and sannyasis. I think they conflated the term sannyasa.
Ah, no, just by the number itself, we can't say this was not allowed. Because in those days, it was difficult for the women for the physical and biological reasons, not for anything else. But even men had their own restriction. For example, you see, brahmachari cannot even think of yajnas. Myself, I am not eligible for any yajna. Yam yam kartum adhiyite tasya tasyapnuyat phalam. That is what Yajnavalkya Smriti says. A brahmachari, just by reciting those portions of the mantras of the respective yajnas, he'll be getting the fruit of those yajnas. Like that, brahmachari has no such rights, and even a widower has no such rights. Vidura, he cannot have many rights. He is not entitled to shraddha. He is not even entitled to perform yajna and other things. So only the householder, only the couple, they had all the rights. Then also the duties have to be observed properly because it is so obvious. Only in a healthy family where every member is responsible and every member is active and every member is competent enough to do things, there something good can happen.
Thank you. We have two questions related to divorce. I'll read both of them. You can answer them together. The first question is there a chance that divorce is called moksha because it opens up the space for each spouse to fulfill their essential material requirements post divorce, which was thought due to tough marriage, thus providing support to continue actively towards moksha, nirvana? The second question, how did you interpret divorce as moksha from Kautilya's writings? Can you elaborate on that?
Uh, Very interesting question, very beautiful question. But this question arises, such questions arises because of the people's uh, poor understanding of Sanskrit language. Many times, the common public, irrespective of their qualifications in the other areas and other branches of knowledge and other pursuits, their very meager and shallow understanding of Sanskrit language and nature of Sanskrit language, they think certain words are more sacred and certain words are inferior and such things. For example, pinda, it has very bad connotation in regional languages. But in Sanskrit, we don't have any such negative connotation. Ayafpinda, Tamrapinda, Suvarnapinda, like that. So everything Pinda means a ball. That's all. A ball like ball shape, shape which can be generated out of anything like that. So moksha literally muja, that is the dhatu, liberation, come out of come out of the path, come out of the institution. That's all. Uh, Mukti Kaivalya Nirvanam Shreyo Nishreya Samritam Mokshopavardha. Like that, Amar Kosha says synonyms. Moksha, Apavarga, Mukti, Nishreyasa, and other things. That is different. The same word may have different connotations in different shastras. Guna in uh, Sankhya Darshana deals with Triguna, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Guna in Alankara Shastra deals with Ojas, Prasada, Madhurya, or Dashagunaha. According to Bhoja, 30 gunas. Or guna, according to Arthashastra, it is Shadgunyam. That is Sandhi, Vigraha, Samshraya, Dvaiti Bhava, Asana. Like that, we have many such things. The very word may have different connotations. And that's why you should not think that the great system, the great aspect of moksha is being misused here. This is why I'm saying, please don't take me in the other way. Please don't mistake me. Many times, half-baked people who don't have the knowledge of the respective shastras and the language as it is, and the connotation in which every word is being used, they make special theories. All those theories will be dubious because their foundation is so weak. For that matter, there will be no foundation at all. And that's why moksha is one technical term that is used by Kautilya in Arthashastra, and it has nothing to do with moksha.
So thank you very much. Another question we received is, why was Kanya considered a greater wealth than the Vara?
Kanya was,
Considered a greater wealth than the Vara.
yes, because she can become mother. We needed working hands, most practical. Ancient people were most realistic and most practical. All this impractical wokeism has come only because of affluence being given to wrong people, is it not? And that's why our ancient people were uh, uh, very materialistic in the positive sense, were realistic people. And that's why they knew that next generation can only be produced by women. The role of man in bringing the next generation is minimal in the initial years. Only after 5 or 10 years of the child, men may have some role to play. Before that, their role is very, very minimal. And our ancestors, like the ancient generations, they understood this reality of nature, and that's how they arrived at this conclusion.
Another question we have received is, what is the role of Agni in a marriage? Because I usually heard that Agni is the portal for reaching the devatas, and it's also another part of the question is in some Pacific and Fiji Hindus they do the Sat Fere around a banana tree. So, would any symbolism uh, on this
Banana,
the banana plant? So in Fiji and
uh,
all they do
banana plant is for decoration, is for multi-purpose use. That's all. Agni has more symbolic relevance because without fire, we can't do anything. In the ancient world, fire was a great invention. We needed that to protect fire because it was not easy to produce fire at any time. So it has to be protected. And Agni Grahapati, a householder, can be so because of fire. Fire is a symbol of energy. The whole activity will go on. Food has to be cooked. And we, human beings, we can be healthier and we can be stronger and happier with the cooked food, unlike the animals which live on raw food. Cooking, starting from that, and even to prepare the utensils, the earthen utensils, we have to fire them, all the terracotta, ceramic things. So, in every aspect of life, fire was an indispensable thing. Even today, in the place of fire, we have electricity. So that's why we have a fire being given high respect and symbolic significance. Fire also means agam nayati iti agni, that which makes inanimate animate, that which infuses dynamism into static things. And that is the value of fire, and that's the power of fire.
without Jatakas, how did they ascertain suitability of spouses in
How did they ascertain?
the suitability of spouses in the context of marriage?
Other features are there. Why we need that? Uh, because all this I'm speaking based on the Gri Sutras and Dharma Sutras. Nowadays, people may think without a two-wheeler, without a four-wheeler, how can they arrive at it? Without a bank balance, without a medical examination, how can they arrive at the suitability of bride and bridegroom? Means in those days they were not. That's all. We can take all these things into account nowadays, and people have already taken into.
Uh, just we'll take one or two more questions. One is uh, regarding the Hindu Marriage Act. They are asking how much of Sanatana Dharma marriage understanding is incorporated into this Hindu Marriage Act.
And this only a competent person in modern law should answer. My friends like Kashyap Nayak or Vikram Phadke, they should answer. I don't know. I know this much, whether it is our constitution or our legal procedures and the laws. They have not depended much on our Sanatana Dharmic texts. Even in places where it is of great significance and great relevance, they have not cared to. That is what I have taken from my advocate friends, and even Dr. P.V. Kane too. He observes that there is much room for such acceptance. Unfortunately, our makers of modern India, they have not cared to look into these things. Lot of inferiority complex that has made our people blind to these nuggets.
So, Ganesh, I think last two questions we'll take. One is,
Please, please.
uh, how can marriage rituals be adapted to modern sensibilities since belief and value systems are so diverse?
It's a very relevant question, but needs an elaborate answer. This much I can say. Any ritual is a symbol, and symbol is a metaphor of a great enactment, and that can always be relevantly used. People who are involved in the institution of marriage, they should first have this understanding and feeling for it. Then naturally things will fall into their respective positions and it can be done more meaningfully.
Uh,
When our ancestors, our rishis, have solemnized marriages of Gandharva, Asura, Peshacha, Rakshasa, and other varieties, we can think of their accommodation. We need not doubt their accommodation. Our Shastras are certainly accommodative. We should become accommodative to Shastras.
Thank you very much. One final question few people have asked. Are there any book recommendation books either you have authored or from some other authors which give a comprehensive view on the Vivaha Paddhati?
Many people have written in many Indian languages, we do find such books. In English, Rajabari Pandey long ago, Hindu Samskaras, that book he wrote, is very useful, but it's more historical in nature. Uh, and then Mahamopadhyaya Bharatratna Pandurang Kane, in his magnum opus, History of Dharma Shastra, has devoted a lot of space to marriage institution. And India of Kalpasutras by Ram Gopal, there also we have such things. And these are all thoroughly academic in nature. And there may be popular works also. I don't know much about popular works. In English, we certainly having. But only thing is, people who write are not tapping the primary sources, and they are also not rooted in the true philosophy. Uh, Blindly copying and matching A to B to C, like that, just matching blindly. Sometimes they'll be writing interesting and engaging books, but they'll be shallow in nature. And that's why I'm not conversant with those writings. I forget them. Uh, in every regional language, we do have. But we do need often and often, time and again, to different times, in different ways. The same truth has to be told in a palatable manner. I don't know how many such works are available. In Kannada, some works I have seen. For example, my friend, late M.A. Hegde, has written a beautiful book on samskaras. I myself have written Samskaragalu, Paramartha, Mattu Prastutanvaya. Like that, we have Rangape Swamiji, the great saint of Karnataka. He has written about samskaras. Like that, many people, and that has been translated into English as well. And Swami Harshananda, in his concise encyclopedia of Hinduism, has written these things. But it has to be it has to take into account present day challenges, legal problems, and aspects of health, hygiene, and then medicine, such things. Along with that, the various art forms associated with marriage, and even the regional rituals, regional practices, Deshachara and Kulachara, like that we say, all these things should be taken care of. For example, in Karnataka, many people they perform Balagadhare, and then Balagadhare is the whole community will be coming and will be pouring milk into the hands of bride and groom. So the bride is ritually offered to the groom like that. That is Balagadhare. It's a very beautiful symbolic representation of the solemnizing the marriage. And then they do have something like Gotra called Bali, like that. So such things should also be taken into account. Then it will be a holistic thing. If not, what happens? Many times our Dharma Shastras, they revolve around the Varuna Brahmana. And just so people often mistake that they are just meant for Brahmins. It is not so. All the other communities are also involved. How? Why? These things can be known by a greater in-depth research. And for that, the Deshacharas and Kulacharas have to be observed. And for that, one should go to Kavyas, one should go to folk literature. Folk literature is not entirely different from Sanatana Dharma. For that matter, the Vedic literature is folk in nature. So this needs a holistic and comprehensive view. I have not come across such work, but it will become very voluminous. And Dhikhyedayeva Vistaraha, as Bhamaha said, it is just a brain teaser. The work becomes bulky.
Thank you very much, Ganesh Avare. It was a very, very deeply illuminating, very insightful presentation. In a very short time, but a very comprehensive presentation. Vaha. And we all deeply benefited from it. Thank you for making time. It is already late in night. Thank you again very much. I also want to thank Professor Devendraji for coming up with this idea for this wonderful session. Thank you very much, Professor Devendra. And I thank everybody for coming and attending this session. Thank you very much. With this, we
Canada.
conclude the session.
Good night.
Thank you.
Om Tat Sat.